Hello and welcome to episode 83 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet and my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is February 8th, 2021. Today I'm wearing my Haramaki, and one of the reasons I'm wearing this is that I had a comment recently on one of my videos and somebody was surprised that I was wearing what is technically called a belly warmer around my neck. So the Japanese word Haramaki actually means belly warmer or kidney warmer. So that's how you can wear this. I'm not going to show that to you right now, but yeah, I do sometimes wear it. It looks a bit like, I can wear it a bit like a skirt, or I can pull it up just to keep my belly warm. So, but I can also wear it around my neck, and I can even put it on my head. And the ideas basically come from Martina Umemura, who wrote this book. It's not available anymore in German, and I don't think it was ever published in a different language, but I'm not too sure. So you might want to Google it. So the author's name is Martina Umemura, and it's called Haramaki. You knit once and you wear it 6 times. And this is all the ways you can wear it. So this is the belly warmer or kidney warmer that you can do. But you can also, if you take the tube and you wrap, you turn it around in the middle like this, and you pull the 2 layers on top of each other, you can basically wear this as a hat. It works a bit better if you have some sort of ribbing in at least one part of the Haramaki, but you can wear it this way, or you could turn it around and you can wear it this way. So that's the 2 different ways you can wear it as a hat. This is the belly warmer. This is the cowl, the way I was wearing it. You can pull it up over your head. I love to wear it like this because it's like having a hat that you can't lose. If it gets too warm, you just pull it down. If it gets cold, you pull it up again. And this is like a headband or bandana or something, but you can just, it's also a bit like a hat, but you just leave the rest hanging at the back, which gives you a nice warm neck. So that's nice too. So everything in this book is just these knit tubes. So even if the book isn't available anymore, I think there are lots of ideas on the internet, and also many of them you can just, yeah, you can look at them and you can figure out how to do them, or you can come up with your own patterns. One of the things that I haven't done yet is knit one in Brioche Pattern. So you can use 2 different colors. So those 2 both use the same colorful yarn, and then this is combined with blue and this is combined with red. And I like that for a couple or for friends to have something in common and something different. So and you can knit them with the yarn held double. So this is a colorful yarn doubled in itself, and then the other half is doubled with white, which then looks like this. So this is with white, and this is the color doubled in itself. So very, very beautiful things. Maybe you can get the book used if you want to have a German book. Martina Umemura is a German doctor who lives and works in Japan. And when this catastrophe happened in Fukushima with the tidal wave that happened, and then the I don't know what it's called, but where they, oh, you know, this big plant that blew up, and people were driven from their homes and lost everything they had and all that. She came up with the idea to give people yarn and needles and short instructions how to knit one of those haramaki. And basically her idea was to keep people busy and give them something to do. But the people really liked the idea, and they were so busy knitting these haramaki that they were at some point able to sell them, and that several of the women who'd lost everything, they actually earn their income now by knitting these and selling them through the internet. And so I loved the idea when I read about that in the book, and I bought several books and gave them away to other people, and I recommended people buy the book as long as it was still available. And yeah, and I love knitting them. I love wearing them, especially here in my shop where it tends to get really cold in winter. I very often wear one round my middle and one round my neck. And I like to knit knit them and give them away. So this one was originally knit for my cousin, who picked the colors and who picked both the patterns. I think they're part of 2 different haramaki from the book, but she said she wanted this half and that half. And then I gave it to her, and then she realized she can't wear this kind of yarn around her neck next to skin. So she gave it back to me, and by then I had knit this pullover, and I realized that the colors are almost the same. So I decided to keep it and wear it myself. And there's so many ways you can use it around your head and neck and middle. And even if you put it around your neck, there's several ways you can wear it. Like if I just pull it around like this, it's fairly loose and it's not too warm. But when I go out, I will often turn it. So I will take one half and turn it this way, and I will turn the other half the other way. And because I turn it in different directions, it will start to snuggle up against my neck, and it's a lot tighter and warmer. And then I can put on my jacket or whatever. And yeah, they're so versatile and they're so easy to knit. You can pick any pattern and just knit a straight tube, and that's it. Only thing is that if you're not Japanese, or like me, half Japanese, and if you want to wear it as a belly warmer, you have to probably do some measuring and see what circumference you need to get it around your hips, and then yeah, choose your number of stitches accordingly. Yeah, so that's the haramaki I'm wearing. That was a long story. The pullover I'm wearing looks like this. It's a very simple, it's like a broken rib pattern. It's a raglan top down. I can wear it the other way around. I sometimes will. The pattern looks different on this side, and it doesn't have any seams, so I can just take it off and put it on the other way around. Sometimes I do just for fun. And the pattern is from this book. It's called November Knits by, you can see the name here. I don't have to think about how to pronounce that. And it's the first project in the book. And I think it's the only project out of this book that I have knit so far. It's a very nice book. There are many things that I would love to knit someday, but so far I've only managed to knit this one. And it's the Barnwood Pullover by Grace Anna Farrow, and that's what the original looks like. So the color is completely different. It's a bit more oversized than mine. Mine's not very tight, but this is probably even more oversized. And yeah, I like it a lot. It was a fairly quick knit with the thick yarn, and has nice colors. Yeah, and especially with this cold weather that we're having at the moment, it's perfect. So that's everything I'm wearing. Then on to finished objects. And I have one finished object, and that's really colorful. And it's perfect for this kind of weather that we're having. And it's my Carnaby crochet long pullover. It's finally done. I think the first part of the pattern was published last year, January. And then in February, the second part was published, and that was when I decided I wanted to have this. So I started it almost exactly a year ago. And then every month I was able to do 1 or 2 of these pieces. And by October, I think we had the complete pattern. But then I had lost steam and I let it lie. And it took me forever to crochet the sleeves. As you can see, I changed the sleeve a bit. The sleeves were supposed to be the same width as this strip, so they would have gone from like here to here, and they would have been really wide, and they were supposed to be straight, so I would have had hugely wide sleeves at my hand, and I didn't want that, so I made them a bit smaller, and then they ended up being too small, so that's why I put some black on the edge to make them a little bit wider. It's still fairly tight fitting. I chose my needle thinking that this pullover was supposed to be 60 centimeters wide. So I thought that's too big, so I'll just use a needle that's one size smaller. And then it was so small, it was just over 40 centimeters, I think. So I added some black on this as well, and it's fairly tight fitting compared to the original, but I like it. It's fairly dense because of the small needle, so it's a really warm pullover, and it's just so colorful, and I just love the colors. I love the way it came out, and yeah, I shall be wearing this on my podcast very soon. So that was the Carnaby crochet along pullover. I was using DK weight sock yarn by Opal, except for the blue color. They don't have a light blue in their DK weight yarn, so that's a Vollerödel yarn. I think it's called all round, that I had from like ages ago. But it's almost exactly the same colors that they have in the original, and I really love it. And I'm still working on a cotton version in different blue colors, and I'll start working on that soon, I hope. Now that that one is finished, I can concentrate on the other one. I finished all the pieces for the fronts and backs, haven't sewn them together yet, and I still need to crochet the sleeves, so I'll get working on that at some point, and I'll probably do make a cardigan out of that one, so yeah, just for a bit of a difference. So that was my finished object. On to works in progress. As usual, I start with my socks, and the first sock I'm going to show you is the Longitudinal Sock by Nicolor. Last week I showed you the finished one, huge and big, and I've put a bit of work into the second sock, and now I'm going to do something unusual, because I'm putting this to the side and I won't continue knitting on it for a while. I won't put it down forever. I promise to finish the sock at some point, but I'll tell you why. I've told you that at some point I had 5 pairs of socks in progress at the same time. It's the same situation right now, I just realized. But when I started this pair of socks, I actually used this needle, and the needle that I had in this sock broke. So the tip came off the cable, and I didn't know how to repair it. So I took this needle out of those socks so I could work on these. But now I'm going to switch back. So at the moment I just have some metal needles that are too small in here just to hold the stitches. And this is supposed to be another pair of cat socks. If you've seen previous episodes, you know that I've already knit 1 pair of cat socks. I used, that was also, I think, either a blue or a blue-grey yarn. This is another blue-grey yarn. It's out of the Jazz collection by Opal. And these was supposed to be, or this was a Christmas present. I gave this away like that with the promise I will finish the socks. They're for my nephew, who composed the music that you'll hear at the beginning of every episode. And it's his birthday at the end of the month. So I decided to put the needle into these socks and try and finish the socks for his birthday. So they'll be both birthday and late Christmas present. And once I've finished that, I'll put the needle back into the longitudinal sock and finish those. So that's the plan. So I knit this bit of the socks before Christmas, haven't touched it since, but I think it'd be quite nice to have a change of things. I like to switch things up a bit. So that was the first 2 pairs of socks. Then I continued knitting on the present sock. So as I've shown before, I think 2 weeks ago, I got this present. And as I've knit a bit more, you can now, the yarn that's wrapped in here peeks out a little bit, but the book is still quite hidden. And these are the socks that I'm knitting. By the way, this is a different needle size, which is why I can't use that needle for the cat socks. Oh, by the way, these are 2.5 millimeter needles, and the other one is a 2.75 millimeter needle, which is my favorite size for knitting socks, but I didn't have another one, and I was already knitting 2 projects on that one needle, so I used a different one for these socks. But I just had to get those started. I need to get at the yarn, and especially the book. So excited to find out what book that is and what's in the book. So my friend wrapped a ball of white yarn and a ball of blue yarn around this, and I knit the cuffs like this, and then I swapped the colors. Then I changed the colors again for the heels. I finished both the heels, and I've started knitting the foot on both of the socks. I'm not quite sure whether I'll stick with this color or maybe change again in the middle of the foot, or maybe I'll just add some ribbing in the middle. I don't know yet. So it's, on the one hand, I want to get them done really quickly. On the other hand, if it's too much stock in it, I tend to get bored, so I might mix it up a little bit. Don't know yet. All I know is I want them to be finished. As soon as the socks are finished, I'm allowed to unwrap the present, even if the wool isn't used up, which it won't be because I don't have big feet. So that's another pair of socks. Then I continued knitting on my brioche socks, 2-color brioche. It's one color is this color out of the Shafpatensocken series, German wool from German sheep, completely produced in Germany, and the dark gray on the other side. So this side shows the colorful yarn, and if I pull it down like this, you can see the dark gray. And I thought I'd knit enough rows to, or rounds, to start the toe, but then this morning when I checked, I realized I still need to do 10 rounds. 10 rounds of brioche knitting, and then I will increase my stitches and I will knit this double knit toe. So the toe on this side is pink and the toe on this side is dark gray. And as I didn't put any pattern and I didn't sew it together, I can actually pull the toes apart, and I can have one toe here and one toe here, which is quite funny and absolutely unnecessary, but fun. Maybe I'm going to put in just a very tiny pattern on the other one, which will mean that the two layers are cling together. You can't separate them anymore. We'll see. So this is the other side of the sock. I was thinking that maybe I'm going to wear the sock like this, so that the grey gets more of the sort of hard work, and then if I pull the cuff down like this, the color will show, but I don't know yet. And probably I'm also thinking of using them as guest house shoes, because they just fit any foot. So that's that. Not too much to do. The 5th pair of socks I'm working on at the moment is a test knit. It's a test knit for a German designer called Elke. Forgot her last name. I think Elke Strickt is her Instagram handle, and she doesn't want us to show the pattern until the pattern is published. So I can show you the yarn. That's another Opal Abo yarn. It's a subscription color. Maybe it'll come out in a series at some point. Oh, this looks nicely together. I hadn't realized. So when your knitting fits your clothing, that's perfect. So I should be knitting on these socks today a lot. As I said, I can't show you the pattern. I'll show you the cuff and the inside of the pattern. So I put them inside out. I won't hold it into the camera a lot. I'll just let you quickly see that I did start knitting. I'm still on the cuff, haven't started the heel yet, but I do enjoy the pattern, and I look forward to being able to show you the whole sock as soon as it's published. Okay, that's all the socks and small things and double pointed needle stuff and so on. I'll show you one more sock yarn project that has, okay, most of it is sock yarn. Anyway, I'll just show you this because I feel like it. This is the skirt I'm knitting, and I don't remember how much I've added since last week. All I know is that I finished the first ball of yarn. So this is all the knitting you can get out of 100-gram ball of Opal sock yarn if you use a 3.75 millimeter needle. This is supposed to be the last increase I do on this skirt, and yeah, I'll have to try it on, measure a bit, and then decide when to start the color work. My plan is to knit white snowflakes. It's either a snowflake or star pattern. I'm never quite sure whether it's supposed to be a star or a snowflake. But anyway, I picked a very nice pattern, and that's going to go into this skirt. And then this will go with my pullover in the same yarn that has a different color work pattern, knit in white. Yeah, so I can't wait to start the color work on this. The skirt, the snowflake skirt. Yeah, then on to shawls. I crocheted one pattern repeat on my virus shawl. That's the weekly usual. I really enjoyed that. It's Cotton Kings 12s, and I've already crocheted quite a bit. And as I said last week, I wasn't sure how many more pattern repeats I will get out of the yarn. So I measured, I weighed the yarn cake before I started crocheting the next pattern repeat and weighed it again. And I think the result was that I can probably crochet either 6 or 7 more pattern repeats. So that's quite a lot. So I think I will crochet at least 2 or 3 before I weigh the yarn again. But this is what it looks like now. So it grows slowly. One pattern repeat is 4 rows. It's like from here to here. So from here to here, these are 4 rows. And I will add another 4 rows this week and then show it again to you next week. Yep, I enjoy that a lot. And the other shawl I am knitting is the test knit for, what's her name? Sarah. Her name's Sarah. And Sarah K Knit. K.knit, I think is her Instagram name. And this is what this looks like. So I only added 2 pattern repeats on this, but as the rows are getting longer, it takes longer to knit a repeat. This is what the shawl is going to look like later. This is going to be the upper part, and then one side has the leaf pattern, and the other side will be the bound off side. Yeah, so that's very nice. I'm slowly able to memorize the pattern. I only have to look at the pattern every now and then. In the beginning I had to look at it every row, but yeah, I'm starting to understand how it works, and that means I can knit it more easily, and I can concentrate more on the TV I'm watching at the same time. I don't always have to ask my husband, why is he doing that, and who's that, and where did that come from? Yeah, these are the shawls I'm knitting. Then on to blankets. I have picked up my Memories blanket. This is the Coziest Memory blanket pattern with a bit of a difference that I'm knitting the first 2 rows of every square in black, just to give the squares that a bit of a frame. And this blanket, it's a second blanket in that pattern that I'm knitting. And with my first one, I just put all the leftover yarn in there, and I repeated colors. But this time, this is called my Every Project Memories blanket. And this blanket only gets 1 square per project that I finish. So the only time the same yarn will be repeated is if I knit another project with the same yarn. So, and also the first blanket I knit in that pattern is all opal yarns, but with this one I'm mixing all the sock yarn that I have and that I use. So most of it is opal, as that's the yarn that I use most, but it does have some okay, it has yarn from Decke, who are a German hand dyer. Hand dyeing is the word I was looking for. So this is hand dyed yarn, and this is hand dyed yarn. I knit a star cushion out of that. That's in the car now. This is hand dyed Wolldackel yarn. Yeah, so it has all the different yarns. These 3 are hand dyed yarns by what used to be called Drachenwolle, and I use those 3 yarns in one pullover. So I'm trying to, if I use different yarns in one project, I try to put the squares next to each other. And the new ones are these 2. These are opal yarns, and last year I knit a pair of socks out of this color and 1 pair out of that color, and that's my sock couple that I do every year. And I sent those socks to a couple that I give socks to every Christmas. And yeah, and I realized that it's quite some time ago that I finished those socks, so they should it's high time I put them into the blanket. And I've been collecting so many yarns from finished objects, and my plan originally was that every time I finish a project in sock weight yarn, to at once put the square into the blanket, and I just don't manage at all. But I haven't touched this blanket for so long, so I thought it was time I put in some more squares. So that's 1 blanket I knit on, 1 out of 3. The other blanket that I worked on is the dinosaur blanket, and I talked about that last week, I think, but I couldn't show you because I forgot to bring the pieces, but this time I made sure I remember. So this is the main yarn I'm using. This is opal DK weight yarn out of their Rainforest series from last year, and these are like the normal squares within the blanket, and this is one of the dinosaurs, and I think they're so cute. I will crochet dinosaurs in different colors. They won't all be that bright green, by the way. Some of you may have noticed, but it's the same green that's in the jumper. I actually used the same yarn because I didn't need the whole ball of yarn for the pullover, so I used some of it for this dinosaur. And yeah, so I'll be crocheting different colored dinosaurs, but they will all be triceratops with these 3 little horns, and this is the face. And that's what I meant when I said that there's even more finishing on these faces than with the cats, because I have to crochet 3 horns and sew them on. I have to crochet 2 eyes, sew them on, put the little highlight in there. I have to crochet the mouth and sew it on, so it's quite a bit of work, but I think it's worth it because they're so funny. And then because it's like, is it on the bias? It's not like this, but it's like that. So the blanket is supposed to be like this. So there'll be these squares in between the dinosaurs, but then on the edge of the blanket, I need triangles. So I crocheted a triangle. So this is what the edge of the blanket is going to look like. The corners will be like flat. There won't be a tiny triangle there, but it'll be straight up. Then this dinosaur, and then there'll be another triangle here, and so on and so forth. And I am planning on crocheting 12 dinosaurs. That means 3 in the width and 4 in the length. And that means I think I only need 6 of these big squares, which is quite funny. I'm so used to crocheting either the same amount or more of the basic thingies, but I think I'll need 10 of the triangles. And last week I was thinking about doing like 1 square a week, but I calculated if I did 1 piece every week, it'll take me until summer to finish the blanket, and then the kid will have finished 1st grade, and he's so waiting for his school blanket that I will be trying to do more than 1 piece per week. So last week I finished the first of the triangles, and I almost finished the second one. There's just 2 rows missing on this one. And I think the weeks that I do the dinosaurs, I probably won't manage more than the dinosaur, because there's a lot of work. Maybe 1 of the triangles. The weeks I do the plain squares, I may be able to finish 2, but there aren't that many of these. So I think the focus will be on the dinosaurs and then do the plain things in between. So if I manage to do 1 dinosaur a week, that'd be really quick. And then I could finish off the other pieces. And then I still have to crochet them together. There's supposed to be a border around it. Okay, we'll see. Maybe it will take until summer. I know the little boy is really being patient and he just asks his mum about his school blanket only every now and then. And I think she started watching the video, so she will know how far I got and how much longer it might take. And I hope that will help him to be patient. Yeah, so that was the 2 blankets that are not the knit along. Then I have one more crochet project to show you, and that's the corner to corner present thingy I'm making. And again, I won't explain exactly what I'm making, but I'll do that next week because it will have to get finished this week. I want to give it as a present on Sunday, and then on Monday I'll explain everything about it to you. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Probably already obvious what the motif is going to be, but probably not as obvious what the thing is supposed to be for. So I'll explain all about that next week. That brings me to my knit-alongs, and we have 2 knit-alongs still running, but the first knit-along is all the patterns in the Simple collection by Tin Can Knits, and I've almost finished my flex pullover. And I think once I finished it, I will sort of, I won't say the knit-alongs at an end. It will be finished for me. I will still leave the discussion thread on Ravelry open. You can still add your projects out of the Simple collection. I really like all the patterns in that collection. So maybe I'll knit some other pieces at some point and add them there so people can have a look at what's possible to make. And yeah, but officially for me it will be finished, and I will probably think about another knit along to do alongside the blanket one, because the blanket one is going to run the whole year, and it would be nice to have something else at the same time as well. So this is my flax pullover, and I'm holding it the wrong way around. This is the front. I added the short rows that Tin Can Knits have published recently, and finished the sleeves. I knit the rib pattern instead of the garter pattern on the arms. I repeat the rib pattern on the sides, and then, as I showed you last week, I started knitting the rib on the front of the pullover, and I have bound this off. I've also increased a few stitches before I knit the rib so it doesn't pull in too much. And as I said, I knit almost all the stitches that were in rib pattern on the side, except for the last 2 purl stitches. And then once I'd finished that, I just went ahead and picked up stitches out of those same stitches that I used for the front, and I'm using the same stitches to knit the back rib, which means that at the point where it splits, it doesn't flare open too much, because even if that pulls to the front and that pulls to the back, it still overlaps a little bit. And I've knit some of the ribbing. I've sort of gradually started knitting the stitches in rib pattern, and now I'm knitting all the stitches in rib pattern. And my plan was to have the back longer than the front, so the front sort of comes down to my thigh when I sit, but I want the back to be longer so that I'm nice and warm and toasty in the back without too much fabric on the front when I sit. And when I stand, I still think it looks fine. So almost done. Really looking forward to finishing this and starting the next pullover. I've already planned the next pullover. It's going to be a mohair pullover. I'll tell you more about it when I get there. Okay, on to the last project, my Optic blanket knit along. I had finished the first 9 squares. Just in case you haven't seen it, this is what the pattern looks like. You can knit the whole blanket in one go and attach all the squares while you go, but that means you have a lot of knitting on your lap that you have to turn round and round and round while you knit the squares. And I decided I'll just leave it at the 9, and I'll keep making 9 squares and then sew those together. And so this is the first square of the next 9. It's a rather unusual color for me. I knit socks for my cousin out of that color. She can wear sock yarn on her feet, no problem. She loves knitted socks. I think she mostly wears them on top of other socks anyway, but I hope she'll like the color. She still hasn't got the socks because of COVID, and you know, we're not supposed to travel. I don't want to put it in the post, so it's still waiting, but they won't go bad and she will enjoy them whenever she gets them. And the leftover yarn I used for this square. Yeah, so that's everything. That was everything I knit and crocheted last week. I hope you enjoyed watching the progress and listened to all I had to say, and I will see you in the next one.